Good evening. We're going to call the Town of Andover March 17th public hearings to order. And I guess we'll get right to it. We'll start with the application 26-1 SP. Application of Thomas Hurst, Elizabeth Paulson at accessory apartment above the existing farm store. And go ahead.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth. I'm representing my parents, Tom and Sherry Hurst. We're looking to put an accessory apartment in the second floor of our farm store, which is an existing attic right now. You can see the store on the center of it, in the cross there on the center of the site plan. If we go to the next page, we can see kind of what we're looking at in terms of an apartment.
Is there anything about it?
I don't think there's anything particular on the site plan other than knowing really where the store is. Unless anybody has any questions about that.
We took this from the engineering drawings that were sent to us by the cell phone company, and Elizabeth added the details for the property there. She's not adding any buildings. She's using an existing building. So that's. See this without seeing. Is there any way of seeing that without?
Yeah, I can minimize this. This I can't, but.
What it is?
Oh, there we go.
So we talk.
Hide video. There we go. Okay.
Can we scroll down just a little bit so that we can see the buttons? What we're looking at currently is the second floor of our store building, the stairwell up on the left. As we come to the top of the stairs, we're gonna keep that storage. And then we've marked out where we're looking at having the accessory apartment. We've already put in a septic system. We've gotten the okay from the Eastern Highlands Health Department to do this. You know, we're looking at doing this because, you know, we all know that farms are, they take a lot of extra hands. I was one of 9 children. A couple of my siblings are hoping to move back and sort of help out with the farm, raise their children there. And my sister is looking to move back. So this will hopefully be for my sister. You know, it helps them, helps us. But
So this is all storage for the farm store?
that's, yeah, because
That's why I'm reading that.
the accessory apartment has a limit to how big it can actually be. So what we've done is we've made it so that the dimensions fit within what we're allowed to do for the building. Otherwise, we probably would have just made it.
So I saw one of the photos had a doorway from coming to the outside, one of the external photos.
Yes, so.
And I didn't see how that fit into this picture.
So I have some of them. So if you look at the stairwell on the left-hand side, that door is at the bottom of the stairwell. So we were told we have to put in a separate entrance for the apartment. They can't access it through the store building, like the main entrance of the store. So it will be at the bottom of that stairwell, which I think we have a picture that shows where it will exit on the front of the store. Yeah, so we just kind of white it out. It's currently a window. We'll just remove the window and put a door there. So they can enter in that side building.
And was the kitchen gonna be, a full standard kitchen, sink,
Sink,
is-
stove, refrigerator,
Yeah.
small island, some.
more than a
couches.
microwave?
No, more than a microwave for
Okay,
sure.
yeah.
For sure. I think that they're looking to live here, for an undetermined amount of time. So,
And how is it gonna be heated?
there will be pellet stove and wood stove.
So
Which are
pellets
currently,
upstairs?
which are currently up there because we do heat the store with wood pellets. So that's already installed.
Okay,
And the septic it's a new septic for
It's
this?
a new septic for the store itself, which on the site plan I did mark, it's out in front of the store. And we put that
Yeah.
in 2024.
And so you have all the, stuff from Eastern Highland?
Yes, and they have approved that that the apartment is within the parameters of the septic to be added.
There's Eastern Highlands letter. So it's my understanding that a few years ago, you connected the store
Right,
to the septic system
the house
with the intention of,
right,
and now you're getting to the
Right.
actual, we want to do the apartment.
right.
There's
So-
parking, plenty of parking.
Plenty of parking.
Yeah, I was up there last week with plenty of parking. As far as the square footage, it fits in with the 33% of the primary dwelling.
I think the only odd thing about it, maybe from the normal in-law, is that it's not attached to the house. But that's, the plan is still to use it for family. It's not really, I know it's called a market rate accessory apartment, but we're not planning on renting it out. It's just-
I will note that they have requested a waiver for the A2 site plan,
For the what?
for
Sorry.
the A2 site plan.
Okay.
That's on file here. This is the checklist. And here's a waiver request right here. So, is there anything else you'd like me to show the commission out of this?
I don't, is there anything else you would like to see?
I put into the file, the satellite view of the farm.
Did also have pictures.
Plenty of room.
They are gonna start, and also the cell tower is gonna be started pretty soon, isn't it?
Yeah, they're today, they're thinking maybe the middle of May. If everything goes,
I see that they put in for their building permit, yeah. Cell phone tower is going up at the farm. At the rear of the property along, the Bishop Swamp.
right,
The line that, they have a boundary common with the Bishop Swamp, so it's gonna be way in the back.
Is there any other-
Anything else, the commission?
Yeah, any other questions from the commission? Anybody online? Okay,
I think I'm all set.
I'm all set.
thanks. Sounds good.
Yes, ask if there's any other questions for the public.
Thank you for the reminder. Are there any questions from the public,
Probably not.
online or present?
I do have a letter
Okay,
to be read in, letter of support to be read into the file. It's from Edward and Valerie Gervardi. She came in this morning and hand delivered this to me. asking that it be read into the record, so I promised I would. I'll paraphrase, the letter itself is, it's not online, but it'll get there. Basically, they are supporting this, this proposal, as an asset to their property, to make the area more functional. And, she's quite a few accolades about the property itself and the, Hearst family. So I think for the commission's purposes, this is very supportive of their proposal.
Positive order.
That's great. Any other questions from you that?
No, I've reviewed it. I can't find any defects in the application. So that's my report on it. It's got the square footage, it's got the health district, it's got a site plan, it's got a floor plan. Not much else involved. So,
Sounds good. Guess that's it.
Motion to close the hearing?
Yes, for a motion to close the hearing,
I'll motion to close the hearing. Yeah. Don't need a motion, you just ask if anybody wants to keep it open.
does anybody want to keep the hearing open on that? Thanks, Jed. Okay, hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Thank you very much.
so at this point, there's another public hearing coming up on the plan of conservation and development. After that, the commission is going to. They don't have to vote on this proposal tonight. It's gonna be up to the commission what they do. But during the regular meeting, they will decide what they're gonna do, if they're gonna consider this today or push it off. If they consider it today, it's, if you wanna hang around.
There's a nice picture of the Hearst farm in our,
I know.
it's in our plan, if you want to stick around.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we'll move right along to plan of conservation and development. And I'm gonna hand the floor to John Kuskowski, our town planner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very well.
I will bring up PowerPoint. That hopefully will look something like a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. For the record, my name is John Guskowski. I'm the town consulting planner for the town of Andover, and with my firm, Titan Planning and Policy Group, we help the commission develop this plan of conservation and development update for the town of Andover. I'm gonna do just a short presentation and happy to answer questions after that. For those who are not familiar with the process, a plan of conservation and development, or POCD, is a document that is required by the Connecticut General Statutes, specifically section 8-23 of the statutes, that requires that every municipality in the state, at least every 10 years, update and adopt a new plan of conservation and development. This is an advisory document that is prepared and adopted by the Planning Commission. In this case, Andover, like many towns, has a joint planning and zoning commission, but the statutes charge this to the planning half of the planning and zoning commission. It is their responsibility. It is not a document that is voted on by the selectmen. It is not a document that is voted on in referendum or by town meeting. It is the responsibility of the planning commission to develop it. Statutes have a number of things that the plans must consider. Sort of the usual things that you would imagine when you're thinking about a 10-year projection into the future. What land use is going to look like, affordable housing, drinking water and wastewater disposal, physical, social, economic trends, like where have we been, where are we going in terms of our populace, community needs, energy, preservation of agriculture, technology, and as well as sea level concerns and climate change have been added to, our responsibilities a couple of years ago. So all of these things need to be basically considered and weighed and planned for over the 10-year period. And I apologize, but the font is funky on this, the translation of the font, so bear with me here. How are plans used, broadly speaking? They are used by the Planning and Zoning Commission to determine regulation amendments and how the town should be zoned and planned for. So for instance, if we in the plan decide, oh, we really need more manufacturing or more industrial land, that would then cause the Planning and Zoning Commission later to say, all right, where are areas in town that we should change their zoning, maybe from residential to industrial, because we decided we wanted more industrial. That's an example. We didn't say that in this case, but that's the goal of the plan of conservation and development is to guide municipal decisions. It also, at a bigger scale, guides municipal decisions when it comes to investment in infrastructure, investment in land, divestment in land by the town. So if the town was going to extend, so a water line, a public water line from Willimantic or something like that, and invest, what would be millions of dollars. The plan of conservation and development has to be consulted, and the Planning and Zoning Commission has to be asked. The town is thinking about making this investment, or let's say we're buying a piece of open space and using taxpayer money to do so. The Planning and Zoning Commission has to be asked the question, does this investment match with the goals of the Plan of Conservation and Development? Ideally, it does. If it doesn't, that actually forces essentially a veto override by town meeting or whatever entity is going to be approving that plan. So it is a very important consideration relative to municipal investments. If we're seeking grant money, particularly from the state or federal government, they really, really like to see that the thing you're applying for, again, let's say it's a piece of open space or watershed land or something like that, matches your plan of conservation and development. If the plan says, oh, we're all about industrial development here, and then the town turns around and say, oh, we'd like $1 million to buy a piece of open space, the state's gonna say, wait a second, that's not what the plan says. And it might not look favorably. So it really behooves the town to put in their plan the stuff that they actually want to do. The open space that they actually want to invest in, the infrastructure that they actually want to invest in. And that will help in terms of seeking that sort of government funding. The plan also has to coordinate with the regional and state versions of the master plan. The state has a 5-year plan called the State Conservation and Development Priorities Plan. And the capital region, which is the 30-something towns around the greater Hartford area, which includes Andover, has a regional plan. That's a snapshot of the regional plan. And as part of our process, we reviewed both the state plan and the regional plan to find areas of harmony and disharmony. And broadly speaking, we are pretty harmonious. Generally, the reason we're harmonious is that the state and the COG, the Council of Governments, tends to actually defer pretty strongly to the local plans. Connecticut tends to be sort of a grassroots municipal planning up approach. That's changed just slightly over the last couple of years, but broadly speaking, the state and the COG plans tend to be pretty deferential to municipal plans. How did this plan actually get developed? We've been working on this, Jed, for 2 years now or so.
Close, yeah, good year and a half.
The last plan was adopted in 2015, so we're just a slight bit behind schedule on that, but we've been making progress and the state is aware of our progress. The town advertised for a consultant to help with this, and my firm was selected as part of that whole discussion. It was decided that my firm would be assisting with stuff above and beyond the plan of conservation and development. So in addition to working on this plan for the last year and a half, 2 years, we've also been working on grants and projects to assist the town manager, the town administrator, and Planning and Zoning Commission. We saw a couple of slides ago that there's a bunch of stuff that the plan has to consider, open space and sewer and water and housing and things like that. There is no defined process for how a plan gets developed and adopted at a local level. town can do sort of whatever they want. A lot of towns will appoint, you know, a little ad hoc committee with, you know, someone from planning and zoning, someone from selectmen, someone from conservation, someone from economic development, all go in a room and write the plan. Some towns will just hire someone to go write the plan, come back when you're done. Other towns will, the planning and zoning commission, which is what happened in Andover, decided to have a committee of the whole, so the entire planning and zoning commission would be participating in writing this plan. And so what we've done over the last 18 months or so, is we've taken this sort of section by section, chapter by chapter, and produced, updates that the commission has been reviewing at its plan, at its regular meetings. We also, conducted an extensive community survey, both online and in hard copy, that asked all sorts of questions about different priorities and whether, you know, people found that the school was a more important investment than the senior center, or that the transfer station was more important than public works, or that town administration was more important than parks and rec. We sort of added some of these questions about priorities and the type of town that people would like to see. Ask people about their concerns, ask people about their hopes. And we incorporated a lot of that input into the plan. We started from a vision, and we're gonna put the vision statement up on the screen in just a second. That was sort of the broad statement about what we would like Andover to be over the next 10 years. And then the components of that vision were then broken down into the substantive chapters, the thematic chapters, that again, were based on stakeholder input. So when we started talking about conservation issues and natural resources and open space issues, we engaged the Conservation Commission, who were very, very active and brought a lot of good ideas, and maps, Hank, to the table. When we talked about business growth, we interfaced extensively with the Economic Development Commission, and so on and so forth. So each topical area was incorporated with stakeholder input for those folks that knew the most and cared the most about those topics. A couple of things, and you're all Andover residents here, so I'm not gonna get too deep into this, but an important part of figuring out where we're gonna go is to really understand who Andover is, what our demographic makeup is, and what some of the gaps are. And I apologize for some of the formatting of this, the font didn't really translate. So we're, you know, a small town, about 3,000 people, relatively well-to-do, the median household income over 120,000 with a very low poverty rate. So in comparison to a lot of the communities in the area, or certainly statewide, Andover is doing relatively well. Fairly well-educated populace, where you've got, you know, nearly a quarter of your population has a master's degree or higher, which is very highly educated. But again, not surprised to anybody, we have relatively high home values. This is a, you know, a single family owner occupancy community, 94% owner occupied, which is extraordinarily high. It's one of the highest owner occupancy rates in the state. And that, I think, contributes a lot to the stability of the community, because there's, you know, the vast majority of people are really grounded and rooted here in Andover. Our economic status, the middle map kind of shows you the inflow and outflow of jobs. Again, surprise to nobody, Andover is not a job center. We tend to be a bedroom community, and most of our working population is leaving town. We have, of the 3,000 odd people, more than half are leaving the town every day to work. And that, you know, that number, like that's a gross number. So basically, most working people are leaving the town to find work. Only 92 people both work and live in Andover. The gap, and then there's a bunch of, you know, people who are either children or retired or not in the workforce. A little snapshot of some of the major.
John, do you know if that network, is that considered a government job or is that a private employer?
Network, I believe, is a private employer. Right. I mean, it's possible that their major customers are mental, but yeah.
No, I still, you know, I still struggle trying to figure out how we've got 304 government jobs in Andover.
Well, those are, I think, the jobs of the sector that the people in town work in. Whether or not it's in town, there are 300 people in government working in it, or from Andover. So that's yeah, it's not Andover jobs, it's the jobs of the people from Andover, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right, so this is gonna be a little bit more difficult to read because okay, I'm gonna read it from my laptop. So, I'm gonna, if you indulge me here, it's. The vision statement is kind of an important framing document for the whole plan. So with your indulgence, I'm just gonna actually read the vision statement as a whole. Because I think it's an important statement that the community is making. Okay. And I invite you to close your eyes and think of Andover, if you'd like. The town of Andover Planning and Zoning Commission, in developing this update to the 2015 Plan of Conservation and Development, is guided by a deep commitment to conserving and enhancing the historic rural atmosphere of Andover, and by the intent to promote actions and policies that will encourage a more welcoming, connected, and sustainable community where opportunities for growth are available to all. A fundamentally rural agricultural nature has defined the community of Andover for centuries, and it continues to be a critical component of the town's self-identity as it faces the next decade. Making investments in the conservation of forests, farms, trail systems, and open spaces will help reinforce this spirit. At the same time, certain elements of change must be acknowledged and used to guide appropriate growth. An aging population and infrastructure, limited housing and economic development, and a changing climate also demand proactive plans and active responses. We envision, and this is, okay, I'm gonna go to the next page here. This is the core of it. We envision an Andover that provides economic, housing, educational, recreational, and civic opportunities that maintain the community's excellent quality of life. We envision an Andover that strives to create more affordable housing, to welcome a wider variety of new residents and households, and ensures opportunities for residents to thrive throughout their life stages. We envision an Andover that safeguards the integrity of our agricultural, natural, and historic resources through sustainable conservation. We envision economic development that takes advantage of major transportation and rail corridors and is scaled to fit with the spirit and pace of Andover. We envision a safe and vibrant Andover that connects the community through a network of complete streets and enhances the town's civic campus on both sides of Route 6 at its heart. We envision civic investment that acknowledges and plans for a changing climate and the need for equity for current and future residents. The next decade in Andover will continue to enhance the civic campus on both sides of Route 6 as the heart of our community, while integrating thoughtful development in surrounding areas and throughout the town, strengthening safe, vibrant, and inclusive connections among all areas of Andover, balanced with conservation and natural and cultural resources are essential to the realization of this vision. So that's what we want to do in this plan. Each of those vision statements, there are 6 of them, became the heart of a topical chapter in the plan itself. So the chapter is then structured, once the vision is established, in each of those we envision statements. So the first one is the excellent quality of life in Andover. In each of these guiding principle sections, first being quality of life, we broke this down into broad goals for what what should happen to help enhance the quality of life, or the other guiding principles. And so in quality of life, we're seeking to continue to provide public safety for residents, workers, and visitors, continue to preserve the scenic and historic beauty that's cherished by residents and visitors, supporting and encouraging the high quality of education that Andover students through well-maintained and updated school facilities, to manage and maintain parks and public lands for the continued enjoyment of Andover residents, and to protect them from climate change impacts. And lastly, to foster and encourage new and expanded services for senior citizens. So these are the things that we recognize are important to Andover's continued high quality of life. In each chapter, in addition to sort of laying the groundwork and describing, there's a lot of narrative in each chapter that describes our high quality of life and breaks down, our school system, breaks down our open space and our recreation opportunities. So this is just sort of the snapshot. And at the end of each chapter, those goals are further broken down into specific action items, specific recommendations for the things that the town should do, steps that the town should take to help ensure that these goals are reached over the next 5 years. So the guiding principles for housing opportunity, which is our second we envision statement, are to ensure adequate housing for individuals of all ages and incomes that's available within Andover, with a focus on allowing residents to age in town and young adults to remain in town and grow their families, which is something that we saw repeatedly, that young people are forced to leave town because they can't find adequate housing. Seniors don't have adequate places to move into and are sort of stuck in houses that are too big for them to maintain as they age. So finding opportunities for all of those things are important. We want to allow for a variety of types of affordable housing. Including accessory apartments, that's a key part of this. Increasing the number of affordable housing units through incentives and density bonuses where it's appropriate, and to encourage additional housing in locations near existing services and transportation options. So that last one is sort of a non-sprawl. If you're going to increase the activity, it should be in those places that there's already activity. Places where you can get to schools, you can get to jobs, you can get to town hall, and the library, and the recreation facilities, and not scatter people to the winds, where it's really hard to get from one place to another. So that's housing. The third was about conservation. And the goals here were to aggregate tracts of land to create large intact conservation areas and open space corridors, to promote connectivity of open space parcels within the open space corridor. So where we want to make sure that the open space and conservation areas communicate with each other, not only for people, but particularly for wildlife as well. To protect our natural resources, including air, water, soil, and diversity of native plants and animals. Promoting a public awareness of the natural resources and the value of open space, because an educated public about these natural resources is really critical to the efforts to protect them. And to engage the community in conservation initiatives and support recreational opportunities where it's appropriate. So the best, among the best ways to get people to be conservationists is to get them out in nature and make them understand and appreciate what they're seeing. As part of particularly the natural resources and conservation chapter, again, we're very indebted to Hank Bruner and Marianne Gile, who provided extensive mapping support and identified sort of key areas in a number of resources, our water resources, our air resources, soils, wildlife, and all of those things are very important to understand where they are and how these natural resource systems work together. We identified several key open space corridors that we're trying to build upon. And so, the question is, all right, well, we're gonna, try to get a grant about some open space, right? Where do you want that open space to be? And so part of what was being done, working with the Conservation Commission, is to identify some of these key corridors. And obviously the Eastern Highlands, Western Highlands, and particularly the Hop River corridor. Which is a key natural resource. Of course, the Hop River corridor will also come up in our next discussion, which is economic development. And so the goals in economic development, again, is to grow the Andover's grant list by providing additional development opportunities. Consider and promote housing as economic development, again, because recognizing that Andover is a very small community that is primarily a bedroom community. We're not going to turn it into Silicon Valley overnight. We're not going to turn it into the Berlin Turnpike, hopefully ever. So what are our assets and what kind of economic development can we attract? The fact that Andover is an extremely attractive bedroom community and it's a very stable community. More housing is an appropriate way to grow economic development, and promoting tourism by making Andover a destination through again, with promotion of the Hop River, promotion of agritourism, ecotourism, the Hop River trail corridor. All of these things are assets that can be promoted for economic development purposes. Where are we on? 1, 2, 3, 5 now. Guiding principle is complete streets, which was a particular passion of our town administrator who departed during the drafting of this plan, is to make sure that Andover is a safe place to navigate and a safe place to circulate around. So the town should be making changes to its roads to make them more safe. There's a variety of methods that we go through to do this in terms of maybe more widening shoulders, or changing the striping of roads, in certain cases, adding sidewalks, adding multi-use trails, and making the crossings of multi-use trails across existing streets safer. And then to that line, we should pursue safe trail updates to prevent safer and more efficient use of our existing trails. We should be pursuing sidewalks and multi-use trails and identify locations to encourage walking as a safe path. And particularly when we talked about the Route 6 corridor being, you know, bisecting kind of the key campus areas. Obviously, we're in the sort of the southerly part of the campus right now. And with the library and churches and the recreation facility on Long Hill. These are sort of two key parts of our civic campus. Connecting these things together conveniently and safely across all modes of transportation is a really important goal. And so knitting the sort of the heart of the town together through bike, pedestrian, and other transportation means is a key goal. And then the town should continue to focus on public awareness regarding bike safety, resident trooper visibility, and speed enforcement. So making Andover a well connected and safe community where people can navigate around is really important. And then the last of the goal areas, the guiding principles, is about climate resiliency and sustainability. So we want to continue to make strategic investments in our infrastructure to anticipate increased storm frequency and intensity. This is just the reality on the ground. We're getting bigger storms more frequently, and it's stressing our bridges, our culverts, our roads, our floodplains. We want to make sure that we demonstrate climate resilience in planning for municipal infrastructure and facilities. So when we are replacing a culvert, we want to make sure that we don't just replace it in kind, but that we maybe upsize it because the flooding is getting bigger, the stormwater events are getting more significant. So we need to plan for those future climate circumstances. And we want to make sure that our local planning on things like this, our infrastructure, is aligned with state and regional plans so that we can make sure that we are doing things in harmony with the state, and we're not trying to fight them about that. Maintaining collaboration with all these levels of stakeholders. Continue to look at investments in public water and wastewater. Again, Andover is a fairly rural place. We don't have a public sewer line, we don't have a public water line. But certain growth opportunities may necessitate some of those things. And it doesn't necessarily mean, you know, bringing in sewers from Willimantic or water from Willimantic or something like that. There could be, you know, smaller package systems, smaller community systems that would enable the sort of growth that would be properly scaled to Andover. And then prioritizing municipal investments to protect community facilities at risk. A fantastic example of this happened a couple of years ago. Hurricane Ivan, if you remember that. The state of Vermont's Emergency Operations Center, sort of their beating heart of what happens in a crisis, was built in a floodplain and it washed away, which is a failure of planning, I would say. And so if the community has critical facilities that are in floodplain areas or in you know, at-risk areas, we should really rethink that and make these municipal investments in areas that are likely to be more resilient to the changing climate. And one of the final things that we did as part of the plan is to identify a future land use map. And so this is it. The Route 6 corridor is a challenge. We call that the balanced growth area, particularly because you know, you're all Andover residents here, you know, Route 6 is our transportation lifeline. It is also the most environmentally sensitive area in town, and so that creates a challenge, but also an opportunity for some balanced growth opportunities. Looking at our regulations to see how we can both encourage development right along the Route 6 corridor, but then protect sort of the northerly stretches of the Route 6 corridor where it intersects with the Hot River area and its floodplain and the riparian area that is so important for environmental integrity there. And then the majority of the rest of town is intended to continue to be a relatively rural, low density residential, encouraging of open space, encouraging of forest preservation, and then you know, clustering development in sort of key areas. And so the final part of the plan is the implementation guide. So as I said previously, each of those areas, the guiding principle areas, conservation, economic development, housing, you know, quality of life, each of those things had those goals, and then is assigned a number, in some cases a fairly large number, of actual action items. And in each chapter, we list those action items, and in the implementation guide, which is at the back of the plan, includes not only what the goal is, but also who's responsible for it, how long it should take, who are the people that are important to it, and approximately how much it will cost. And in this way, so we break down each of the goals. So again, you know, to develop a civic engagement plan, that's gonna be the responsibility primarily of the Board of Selectmen. They can't do it alone. They're gonna need the help from the town administrator, town staff, commissioners, and that sort of thing. But it's something that they should get started on pretty immediately within the first couple of years of the plan, but it shouldn't cost that much money. And so we've done this same sort of analysis for all of the goals in the plan. In that way, it's easy to revisit, and the Planning and Zoning Commission, as well as all of the different boards and commissions can see that they have their to-do list mapped out for them in this plan and can track this year over year over year. When we get to year 3 of this plan, we open it up and say, hey, has the Board of Selectmen really started on any kind of civic engagement plan? They haven't? Well, they better get to it, you know, and so this keeps everyone in town sort of accountable and answerable to the goals of the plan. And that basically concludes my presentation. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so we can see if there are any.
Before you do that, can you go to the slide, John?
Oh, too late, okay, let's see.
See,
Yeah, sorry, Jed, what slide are we looking?
it was the future land use.
Yeah.
Now. And my question is, we keep hearing about, you know, the action item that's coming our way to create a developable land use map. And I was just wondering how hard it would be to turn that thing that seemed to be it would seem like if we could identify developable land and put it on that, you know, we'd be done with one of the actions that I know is gonna come out.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be tricky, and I mean, well, I have a couple of responses to that.
Yeah.
So for those who aren't familiar, the state of Connecticut passed a law in November, Public Act 25-1, which requires municipalities to develop a housing growth plan, which is a 5-year plan that replaces the affordable housing plan that municipalities had to produce a couple of years ago. And a housing growth plan will have a number attached to it, which is a goal, and we don't know what that number is yet, because the state hasn't developed those numbers. But at some point in the next year, Andover will get assigned a number in collaboration with the state and the region, which will be our target for new housing in town over 10 years. Part of that analysis is going to be, as Jen said, a developable land analysis. That is, guidance is forthcoming from the state. It's not clear exactly how they're going to do this, but I suspect they're going to have a couple of hard categories of high developability and a couple of hard categories of low developability, which would be, the low developability would be floodplains and wetlands and actual water bodies. Land that are encumbered by, ownership by the state, if it's state forest or it's town park. Those are sort of off-limit developments. Then there's other things that are gonna be highly developable, which is, land, immediately adjacent to town or state roads that has access to public sewer and public water, that has, existing development in the vicinity, that has perhaps a transit station. Andover doesn't have one of those, but if you've got, if you're on Metro North, if you have a train station, areas surrounding that will be highly developable. And then everything else is gonna be sort of gray areas, slightly more, slightly less developable. I don't think necessarily that the state is gonna come up with anything that isn't really reflected here already. We considered large forest blocks, we talked about areas of open space, we talked about areas of highway infrastructure, of floodplain, of wetlands. I don't think it's gonna be that much different from the considerations we've already had, but I would suggest when that guidance comes out, which is probably not gonna come out until close to December, this commission could consider making an interim change, an interim a revision to this plan of conservation and development to adopt those standards. I think more likely, it'll just get wrapped up into our housing growth plan. Which, you know, the housing growth plan is intended to reflect the goals and the analysis of the plan of conservation and development. So,
So I guess really, you know, my first thought was, well, we know what the developable things are, at least in the terms of where we consider affordable housing, you know. Back here, over at the transfer station.
Right.
And then Dome Corners.
right,
Then I guess, you know, we've got these big tracts of land, you know, like up on, Skinner Hill. And that, and I guess those could be considered developable too, so.
they're developable, but yeah, perhaps not high priority.
Yeah.
Because of their, you know, their remoteness or lack of proximity to other resources, but yeah.
Okay,
Good question, Ted, thank you. All right, now I'm gonna actually attempt to stop the share. Okay. I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Josh. Now we're gonna have a section here where we have questions by staff, commissioners, and any comments by the public. And I respectfully ask everybody goes like one at a time. And anybody got any questions?
You starting with commission?
Starting with commission. Good idea.
I got a comment. One of the things that, you know, surprised me, I guess, and maybe it shouldn't, is when we were talking about Andover's budget. We said that education took up 81%, which, okay, but then I said 19% to run the town. And I do remember that on the survey, you know, clearly the very top priority of everybody in the town was adequately maintain the roads and the bridges. And in your comment on the 81% is reflective of similar to other towns, so I guess everybody's running their town pretty tight, but you know, one of the things that Bob Hamburger commented on at you know, the tri-board, the Board of Ed, Finance and Board of Selectmen meeting was, you know, we've got 33 miles of road, and I think the number came up to $1.5 million per mile to put down new road and how many years you have to do it, but you know, we need to be banking a couple $1 million a year to just be able to maintain the roads, and that's not counting the culverts and that. And so I guess I just put that for our awareness as we go into, you know, we're into budget season now, that last year the town budget took a good hit, and we can't keep doing that and maintain that excellent quality of life that we were talking about. You can drive around and have a road that you don't fall into the pothole and goof up your car. So that surprised me that I always thought we were trying to go, you know, almost balanced, 1/3 for RAM, 1/3 for the school here, 1/3 for the town, but I guess we didn't do that as well as I thought we were.
It's, yeah, the town has a lot less control over school expenses than it does over municipal expenses.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't mention during my presentation, is it's our responsibility, as part of the public hearing process for this plan to provide a copy, to the Board of Selectmen for their comment, as well as to provide a copy to the Capital Region Council of Governments, or regional government, for their comments. The selectmen, I believe, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, had no extensive comments on the plan. We gave them an opportunity last month to come to the meeting. And the Capital Region forwarded a letter on Monday, I believe, including in the record. They had no negative comments about the plan. They basically endorsed it. So we've satisfied our statutory responsibilities that way.
Great. Anyone?
Yeah, I have a question. My name's Ron Langlois. You're saying about putting in the sidewalks and stuff like that, make public access and. And then again, we're saying that this town there's a lot of seniors in this town, which I agree. what's gonna happen to the taxes? We're gonna have to hire more people to the town to clean these sidewalks. We're gonna have to have more equipment to clean these sidewalks. We're gonna have, you know, all this development, how is this all gonna get funded? Because you got a senior town, fixed income, you can't keep cranking up these taxes on these people. Cause they're gonna leave, it's gonna do the opposite of what you want. Whereas if we did something like the Maine Moose, where we took some land and we put canoes in, and we made people wanna come here for activities, and that money went to the town. It's bringing people here to see our town, and maybe want to live here. You know, I just think that spending a lot of money on transportation stuff and having sidewalks, this is more expensive to the elderly in town.
It is true that adding infrastructure costs money. It also adds to the quality of life, which is also seen in rising property values. If you have a pleasant town that people want to move to and live in and walk around, your property values will increase as a result. But it's also why economic development, as you say, is an incredibly important component. We can't, not have any new businesses or any growth happen and expect the same people to pay increased property tax. As you said, that's untenable, that is unsustainable. So some certain amount of growth is necessary, and that's where economic development comes in. We need to bring more businesses. People said, basically, we should use Route 6 for more shopping opportunities, for more restaurants, for, small businesses and things like that.
Right.
That sort of economic development will grow the grand list and not create the same strains as, senior housing and that sort of thing.
Correct.
So it's a balance. And so it's not, let's just do Maine Moose and not sidewalks for anybody. It's a question of both. It's a question of both.
That keeps your environmental
Yeah.
area nice too, so you have that, but yeah, I agree, you need to have your Dollar Generals, a few other things to come in here to offset it. I wanna have the people in this town who can't stay in their houses anymore, be able to stay in this town and have a place to go to too, I agree with that, right? But I don't wanna make it so that they can't afford to live.
I think your concerns and your goals are exactly reflected in the plan. But yeah, we can neither expect, people to pay for more and more enhancements without, getting anything in return. And we wanna create that, I don't know, I guess pipeline is the wrong word, but to create those opportunities for people to live in town. And if you're in a widow or widower in a 4,500 square foot, 5-bedroom house, you're just rattling around, you don't wanna go up and down the stairs anymore, but you love Andover, you wanna stay in town. We wanna create those opportunities for people to stay, and then have a young family move into that big old house. And keep the generations going, and so that, the people who have been paying taxes in these big old houses can retire in town in a smaller, in an empty nester sort of situation, pay less taxes, still appreciate the town, and the town is continuing to grow for a young family.
Well, the perfect example is Hearst Farm.
Mhm.
Think about it, it's a small little farm, right, trees, now look at it, it's got a beautiful store. Get homemade stuff made there, which is awesome, it's a great place to go, that's taking an existing property, and making it into something that people wanna go there and see. My wife used to go there when she was a little kid. So it's gotten much, bigger and everything like that.
And so part of that is to make sure that our regulations are in place to allow folks like the Hearst Farm to grow their operation and not have the town sort of get in the way of that. So we have that sort of continuity, and we allow the existing businesses, and exactly that type of business, the Hearst Family Farm is exactly the kind of business that reflects Andover. And, it's a moneymaker for the family, it's a moneymaker for the community in terms of its tax revenue and its generation of tourism. And it's, it doesn't detract from the community, and so that our economic development efforts, our regulations have to reflect that.
Go after things like that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I cordially invite you to economic development commission meetings. We're always looking for volunteers, and we've been talking a lot about what you just asked, so.
You guys approved the place for my parents to move in, and I'll definitely set up, now jump on board.
Jay, I have a question.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, just wanted to respond to that conversation. Um, First of all, thank you for that presentation. I think it's really wonderful to see development in Andover being contemplated in a very thoughtful way. I think keeping um, Andover, while still developing is very important. But just getting to the idea of the sidewalks, or general being ability to navigate the town outside of driving. Um, Folks on the Andover Lakeside in particular, that's my experience at living here for the past 20 years. It's a very dangerous area to walk, because there are no sidewalks, there are no real ways of navigating around, and uh, we do walk it. And you can see some of you talked about some of the older folks in town. They're wearing, t bright orange um, uh, jackets and flashlights, anything they can to try and not get hit, while still getting exercise. And my wife and I have to do the same thing. So I think, and if anybody's done some research on the town and the livability of the town for people that might be thinking about coming here, we do really well in just about every case. Our school, the environment, all of that. Where we don't do well is walkability, very, very poor. So I think that, I don't have any numbers or anything. This is just gut, but I would suggest that if we do it, if we do think about improving on foot or on bike navigability of the town, um, in a way that we can sustain, we'll end up bringing more people into the town, especially small families that are going to be here for a long time and invest. So that's my 2 cents. But thank you very much for that presentation. That was great.
Thank you, Jay.
Really, John, more questions on the process than anything. So the Conservation Commission, a number of months back, we did a sort of a final edit review and submitted, I think, some edits to the maps for clarification, some edits to the text. So I'm curious as to sort of where the plan is. Is there a version posted now? Is it available? What's the timetable sort of for wrapping up the bow on it?
So, yeah, I think, I think just about all of the changes that were proposed by yourself and Mary Ann a couple of months ago have been incorporated into the version that will ideally be adopted. The exception is, I believe last week or so, our wetlands officer provided a little bit of commentary on some of the goals, and I forwarded to you to review those. So there are a couple of technical changes that are yet to be incorporated.
Yep.
And so it's really up to this commission on whether or not you guys want to review those sort of last minute technical changes. Or, possibly adopt the plan pending the incorporation of sort of this last little bit. But yeah, so it's, it's sort of up to the commission how they want to handle that.
Okay, to that point, I met with Joe Wagner, the wetland agent, last week, went through that and corresponded with you on that. So that we went sort of item by item through his comments which were related to the inland wetlands regulations and recommendations we had made to look at potential updates to those, which would be part of a separate regulatory review process down the road, probably with an implementation plan. So I leave it up to the commission how they want to handle it. We did, and I think I sent you some of the language, although if you want to sit down and look at more details, we could do that. But there were some elements, you talked about the implementation chapter tonight, you showed that that's been filled out with responsibilities, timetables, budgets, things like that. That wasn't in the earlier review that we looked at.
Right.
And I know that we had put together a number of recommendations associated with policy, with planning zoning regs, wetlands regs, roles of Conservation Commission and landowner and public outreach and so on and so forth. So you know, is that available for review to look at the schedules of those and what you're.
That's been, that's good, the implementation table has been on the town website for 2 months already.
Okay, I was aware, okay, my bad.
It's posted, this draft is posted in the planning and zoning section
Okay,
under, under pending, applications.
okay, thank you.
So that, yeah, so, cause that, Mr. Chair, you have another comment?
But real fast, just want to tag on to what Hank was talking about. I'm on the commission or anything, but if we want to comment on this, what is the deadline? The comments are just, I don't think this is well publicized. I don't remember seeing reading stuff in the River East that this is available for public comment that needs to be provided by X, Y, Z date. So I heard about this meeting tonight and it's a good lengthy document. So I started reading it, but I certainly couldn't get through it. So what is the timeline for public comments to be provided on this draft document?
It's really up to the commission. This is the public hearing.
No, but I'm just talking about like, I don't think it was well publicized. If I missed something or missed a vote or something, I remember seeing a thing on the town Facebook page or the River East or anything about this. So, hearing upon this, I guess I feel timeline pressed to provide comments, but I'm just asking, what is the deadline?
Yeah. I refer that question back to the commission. It's really, it's entirely their discretion on whether to, you know, recognizing that some people feel like they weren't aware of the process sufficiently. The commission is certainly within its own power to continue the hearing. Or, you know, basically give the public another month to submit written comments or whatever. This is the public hearing, you know, so it's really, and you know, and I'm not at all trying to sort of blame a victim things, because a lot of times these things just, you know, sort of fly below the radar. You know, these meetings have been happening for 2 years now. The process has been occurring. You know, we've done outreach through the various commissions and boards and sought their input. Part of being part of a municipality and part of democracy is showing up and making yourself aware. You know, there's a limit to how much sort of individual door knocking or hand holding the commission can do. That said, you know, if people aren't aware, that's not
Like I said,
ideal. That's not ideal.
If I missed a vote or something, my bad.
Right, but so and you know,
So if there was.
right, so
Notice.
it's really up to the commission to figure out how they want to close the loop on that.
If I may, that's why in the action items right at the beginning, one of the items is that how are we gonna engage our population more? You know, the education of how the government runs and, you know, be more involved and, you know, from what I've noticed in almost 20 years here in Hanover, the people that wanna know, they start showing up to the things and find out and, you know, I'm sorry that you can get more notice. I mean, if there's any major concerns, you know, now's the time to voice your opinion and we'll take it into consideration. I mean, we're also not asking to put a sidewalk on every street in Hanover here. This is, I mean, you know.
That's not the answer.
Yeah, no, right, you know, it's like John said, it's a balance between the conservation and a little bit of development that way we would all like to see. And he's done a bunch of surveys and a lot of the commission members, I speak for myself, actually. We talk to other friends and family in town and we get the idea of, you know, well, what does everybody want to see our town do in the next 10 years? And that's basically, in my opinion, that's the plan of conservation and development. How we're gonna expend our resources, not just money, but we have a big volunteer element. You know, this entire commission is, you know, elected, but still volunteer. Same with the conservation and with wetlands, and I can keep going, but. Yeah. So, to answer your question, come on down anytime, all the meetings,
Okay.
yeah. Thank
Just
you.
a little comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of, I don't wanna go backwards in time, okay?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of elderly people in town.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them that don't know how to access internet, stuff like that. And maybe people thought that a little printout in the very least, that there's gonna be going in public meeting on such and such date. They might, maybe they wanna go, but they weren't sure. No, I'm just throwing it out. Internet is the way everybody works, going on the town hall, page, and you can see what meetings are what, it's well displayed there, I get that. But I'm just thinking about people that are in their eighties and their seventies, we name one. Or had, they can't, they don't have access to that, that's why.
But we also, it's still the town clerk posts all the meetings on the board. So that, and we have a community center now, and so that you can see, you come on over, take a look and. Yeah,
And all public hearings are advertised in the reprieve.
yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Also, to answer your question, when I was on planning and zoning for the record over 10 years ago, and this was our big concern too, is what a lot of people, when they get to a certain age and they don't wanna have the big house anymore, their families moved away or started their own families. Well, they don't wanna, it's expensive to live in a big house when you're older and pay the taxes. So never mind utilities, right? So that was on our schedule, that was on our plan of conservation 10 years ago too, was to find a spot to put a community, senior housing over 55, and we're still working on it, so it's a work in progress. This is basically, what this is our best shot, and this is our goals. Right, and whether we achieve them all or not is up to how much support we get, basically. Yeah.
It's always the same,
But
50 or 100 people in this town that are involved.
Right.
I see you guys in town all the time, everybody in this room. But then when you're walking around, you see, the people that come to the meetings are always the same ones. They're the ones that are involved in town. It's good we have volunteers.
go ahead, Leanne. Sorry, Scott. I thought you were done. I apologize. Go ahead, Leanne.
Sorry, I thought Scott was through. Scott, are you through?
Yes.
Okay, I hope you can hear me okay, because, I'm getting even more vibration than usual listening, so, I'm gonna be a little bit vague, but it seems to me when the Conservation Commission came to us, I wanna say it was sometime in the middle of last year, they had a couple of recommendations that I had questions about, and I haven't been able to find them. I found them at one point prior to this meeting, but I'm not finding them again, and when I look where somebody just said the POCD is on the town website under Planning and Zoning Commission, my computer's just not bringing it up. I'm getting some kind of an error message, and I've also looked in my emails from John for the draft. But basically, one or two of their suggestions had something to do with wetlands related to lot sizes and coverage and percent of wetlands. And I had a question at the time, and my recollection is that, and again, I'm being vague because I can't put my finger on it now, but that Jed agreed with me at the time. And part of my point is I thought we were going to revisit that, and I was kind of looking out for it, and I don't know that we ever did. In other words, I think they just got incorporated pretty much into the POCD. So,
Yeah.
Hopefully it's something that I can find very soon. It'll be outside of the public hearing. But I don't know, Jed, if you have any recollection of this.
Yeah, I believe, I'm sorry, Jed, if I might, I believe, Leanne, if you have a copy of the PDF, it's page 58, it has to do with the regulatory action recommendations from the Conservation Commission concerning replacing, and I'm gonna look at Hank for this, replacing 75% with 100% of wetlands acreage removed when calculating building allowances for sites.
Right.
That sounds like it.
Yeah, so it's a recommendation, in the conservation chapter, which is 6, specifically page 58. And I don't know, Hank, if there's any elaboration you want to make?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. And Leanne, from the Conservation Commission standpoint, when we reviewed the town's policies, regulations, sort of outreach and educational initiatives with within town as well as management around town properties. One of the things that we were focused on is that these were recommendations that we anticipated interfacing as a commission with the Inland Wetland Commission, with planning and zoning during the implementation phase of the plan of conservation and development. So in other words, adoption of the plan of conservation and development, as I understand it, doesn't adopt those regulations. That's a separate process to review and adopt regulations, and that's where those discussions could occur and, you know, further research or whatever that was needed to sort of refine that or adopt that would occur. So these were just our take of the areas that we felt that needed to be looked at and our recommendations of how we thought they should be. But that there would be a process going forward, hopefully earlier than later, in the implementation to tackle those recommendations.
And this is an enormous oversight of mine in my presentation. I call this an advisory document, which is important to reinforce. If adopted, this plan is not law. It does not change anything other than becoming the new advisory document for all, you know, future investments of the town, future regulatory changes of the town, all of this stuff. This says basically, this should be our goal. But the key part there is should be. It is then falls to each individual board and commission to then go through their process on changing regulations, on making investments, on all that stuff has to go through the Board of Finance, go through planning and zoning, go through the Board of Selectmen, go through town meeting, depending on the individual process for how that recommendation gets carried out. So if this gets adopted, you know, it does not fundamentally change the way we go about our daily lives or how we do zoning. It just lays the groundwork for those future changes.
And I think one of
So
the
are you
things
saying-
that I remember Hank being very passionate about when we were,
You remember that meeting?
I do. And, you know, and we probably can't show it up here, but there's a map in here that shows our business corridor all along Route 6. And then there's Hank's map with the Hop River corridor right on top of all that business development thing. And so one of the things that we were working on is, do we have the town zone proper? You know, the right ones, industrial business, that sort of thing. And there's gonna be times where, from a conservation standpoint, we don't want to develop that thing. So we need to break that right this minute. We got the broad brush. Here's the Hop River corridor we want to protect. Here's the business district we want to develop, and they are the exact same thing. And so we've got to get back to that, and it was a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be when we were working on that. And that's why it took us 6 months to figure out it was gonna be hard.
Yeah.
So I think that's what, I don't know if that's what Leanne was talking about or not, but I know that's one of the things that you and Mary Ann wanted to make sure that we continued working on as soon as we got done with this thing.
Okay, so are you all saying that that the POCD isn't law? In other words, that this could still be, applied, even though it says, you know, this is, like if somebody's reading it and they didn't follow this process at all, and they said, it says this is what you're supposed to do, are you saying that there's still room for like the IWWC and us to modify that?
Yes,
Most of the actions start out with the words consider.
yes, it's deliberately written, yeah. That said, if, so that you are absolutely correct, this is not law, there's still lots and lots and lots and lots of room for negotiation and reconsideration and even, you know, opposing votes. The one wrinkle there is, so let's say, you know, next year at this time, the plan is adopted, inland wetlands comes before, or Conservation Commission comes before planning and zoning with some proposed zoning changes. That might change, you know, a calculation of developable area based on wetlands or what have you. They propose to make a zoning change. And the weight of the argument will be on their side, because that argument will be presented in the plan of conservation and development as a strong recommendation. To, let's say, change the impervious coverage, as an example. When the zoning commission reviews a proposal such as that, they are obliged to look at the plan of conservation and development and say, is this supported by the plan of conservation and development, or is this in opposition to the goals of the plan of conservation and development? In theory, if they are trying to adopt a regulation that is in opposition to the plan of conservation and development, they should have basically a supermajority, essentially a veto override of the goals of the plan. But that is possible if you get a supermajority of the commission of planning and zoning that says, yeah, we don't really care for these recommendations by conservation or by wetlands or by whomever. And they get a supermajority vote. That's the end of that recommendation. So yeah, it is absolutely not law. It does not change any policies yet, but it just recommends that those policies get changed in a certain direction.
Okay, I think that makes sense. Thank you.
I like when it makes sense. Helpful.
Hi, this is Elaine Bookart, the chairman of the Economic Development Commission, chiming in. You're going to be hearing this a lot from me over the next couple of months during the whole budget process, because the most important thing for us and to move forward with a plan of conservation development is to have a planner. And we haven't had a planner in town. We don't have a town planner until we just recently hired John to go ahead and do the POCD. And hopefully we will continue to budget money to have a planner to work with us on the POCD for doing any of the things that are recommended, any kind of economic developmental stuff, any time conservation efforts, anything. We need to have a planner, because I think John pointed out how horribly things can go if it's not planned properly. If you don't have a planner and you're not having the right oversight, you're going to put something in the wrong spot. That was a good example that John had made of a mistake with poor planning. So I am going to be advocating that we definitely have in the budget to have a planner continue on once the POCD is done, then to hopefully still have John as our planner. So I'll be advocating for that, so we can continue on with this. But yeah, this is how we would like to proceed for the next 10 years. And we're going to have to work out all the details and the plans and the money and what people really want over the next 10 years that goes ahead and gets us toward our goals of what we have written in the POCD. That's it. Thanks.
Elaine, that under economic development, that is action item number 1.
Yeah.
On the list.
Yeah. Make sure we have a planner, because it's so frustrating. We're just a volunteer committee. No matter what ideas we have, we don't have the expertise to move forward with any of it. We need a planner who knows what's going on. And also planners know how to find the grants and the money that's out there to go ahead and help us with our goals. The money's out there, but you have to have people who know how to go out and find it. So, yep, that's our number 1 goal. Thanks.
Thank you, Elaine.
But if I could just,
Go ahead, Jed.
I didn't know until I attended the training session the other night on the new state bridge, but John is certainly tied in well with the Capital Region Council of Government and doing a lot of stuff there. So he knows what's going on there, and he can represent Andover well in all those things in addition to the town. So I think we got the right guy to help us out. We just need to hold on to him.
Yes.
I'm step away from this discussion.
Oh, and also, going back a couple of minutes, the question was, how do some of the seniors find out the, information, I know that John actually sent out surveys of paper surveys too, and they were distributed to seniors at senior lunch. So that we can get more data, because we recognize that some people don't use the computer. And, you know, well, did we do a good enough job? I don't know, but that's one of the things that we're also addressing in this plan. You know, trying to be more communicative and more educational for the public.
You need to encourage Diane Grenier to get back on the, this and that.
Yeah, there you go. All right, are there any other questions, comments about the plan of conservation and development? Online? Parking.
All set, thanks.
So, I mean, at this point, Mr. Chair, you looking for a vote to either, a motion to either continue or close the hearing. If you were looking to close the hearing, I would think that you may want to make a note that the proposed, technical adjustments to the implementation guide as proposed by conservation and the wetlands officer could be incorporated into the final document. Hank, I don't know if you think that they're going to be, if they're relatively targeted, or they're sort of fundamental to changing the spirit of the plan.
No, they're not really a big shift, they're just a little bit more to clarify. From what's existing in there, a couple of the regulations, they don't really shift any of the regulations. There was some clarification issues with some of what was designated as a cold water stream, because we had conflicting data of the deep. So however.
I think I haven't seen sort of the final recommendations play out, but I would put them in the category of technical adjustments, basically.
Yes, I would. Yeah.
So that's, do with that what you want, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
And I've got probably half a dozen little things to pass on to John that probably aren't worth talking about here tonight, but they're sort of technical on just making it a little bit more accurate.
Okay. So at this point.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Okay,
No second?
with before we make the vote, I'd like to just make that note of the technical adjustments that we're gonna need, the pending technical adjustments to be adopted from the Conservation Commission. And the small edits you were mentioning, Jed, before we vote. And we're ready to vote. Oh, nope, sorry. I can just close the public hearing, because it's not a
You can't
vote.
close it. You can, ask if anybody thinks.
Because we have
stay
a-
open.
That's a good idea. Anybody have a reason to keep the public hearing open for the plan of conservation and development? Okay, I'm gonna close the public hearing for plan of conservation and development. Thank you, everybody, for your hard work. It was a long time coming and a lot of work involved from all the commissions. Thank you to everybody that helped with that, and especially John. So now we're going to move on to
We didn't show the Hearst, their picture in here.
Oh.
And they changed, three up page 35.
Is there a hard copy? Give her a hard copy and show them page 35.
There it is. Full paragraph by you guys. Yep. All the great things you're doing out there.
So the public hearing is closed. I'd like to take a 5-minute recess. So that everybody can take a bathroom break.
You need to vote on
I just closed the hearing, so the hearing's closed. I haven't seated.
Well, that would be for the regular meeting.
We have not started the regular meeting, so 5-minute recess, please, and then. Go back and start the regular meeting. Really got more bathroom too, right?
You know where that is now?
I did it. It's bad. It's not too hard, it's just too bad. Or if you wanna, I'm gonna take your time, and just. Yeah. Not a hard time. Yes. Just. And I knew I was saying that. Kimberly's your sister? First you got it. He's talking about, I just got his comments from the week ago, like, so turns out. And so I basically, like, within a day or two, I immediately, for that, take it to the last one, I say, I say, It's gonna hurt, sometimes. And then it's just, yeah, and then we'll just incorporate it for the final. Start, or, yeah, we haven't, was an extra. Okay, thanks. Thank you. We're gonna do it, we're gonna do it all. We started with 5 out of that way, so. I have nothing. Thanks, Sean. Yeah.
Way better than what 10 years ago.
That's still like listed as draft, isn't it? Like, the one on the website?
Yeah.
I think it's still says draft.
It was more than 10 years ago. There was the last day after we did to get it. I just do this.
I mean, it's that is developed, that really sense.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a economic development. Meeting with our.
Joe.
That's Joe left. Joe.
Oh, was this like his party shot?
He's gonna let us know kind of this.
What is that? He didn't tell you?
Yeah, right.
What he meant when he showed up.
Yeah. He probably met with us, maybe a year ago, we talked to,
We've always been trying to encourage.
He left to.
Especially the contractors.
For two entrepreneurs.
Maybe lose that capacity, so that's, like, we've done about 3 farmers, and he visited his business after to do home business. It's that, and we have to get involved, and then we get tax money on it. Gonna keep it here, and that's where it's gonna send cell. So, yeah, come on now, we're just going through the, even if you don't want to join the committee, they put all over. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yes, that's what, you know, we also talked about it there. The conservation commission, they do an excellent job, every day, you know, there's a lot of short situations. Stuff all along the river and all over. It is refresh more concrete ground for, you know, it's big.
I'd love to see.
Yeah. We said the last nation conservation, I think it's, well, now it's not.
Which one was that?
The last, summer house, yeah, but we gotta come through.
It's like you see.
Yeah, there's, well, like, you know, we also talked about just going out in the middle of nowhere either.
Right.
It's, well, written. I mean, I was thinking back to right, I was around like I used to, right, so I think I'm used to like, yeah, it doesn't this.
Let's go. There.
Why don't we take care of that? Why don't we get one night? Good night. We talked about traffic, traffic stuff, and because that is zone. Get out, yeah. Go on. Yeah. We need just. Right, because in order to have sidewalk on the way, then you have to take away some yard, take away some yard, yeah. But like, in some certain spots, we have the share of. So you came from that, so that, people are aware that could be a bicycle, it's gonna be sitting fast there. Everything staying very much.
I walk out there all the time. My assumption is, I assume no cars see. Right. Yeah, especially on those curves.
I was thinking you were gonna say, I said.
But yeah, I recognize because. You know, even as you get older, I have to, there's been people properly walking towards you. And I just, you know, it's adjusted. So I just always assume that they're not gonna see me and step off the side of the road.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good night.
You too.
So you are.
All right. Here we go. Buckle up. Okay, I'm calling to order the regular scheduled meeting of Planning and Zoning, Andover, Connecticut, March 17th, 2026. John, is it still recording or are we gonna?
Yeah, you're still recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right, now we have sad news. We had a resignation from the Planning and Zoning Commission. And Ann Cremay is no longer gonna be on the commission, and so before I do the roll call, I just wanna make that announcement, and we're going to be seating an alternate tonight. 2 alternates, or 1 alternate, yep. We have Kevin and Jay. Who's gonna flip a coin? Let's see,
Who's been an
whoever
alternate?
volunteer to be seated for alternates.
Makes no difference to me. You can see Jay.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Jay?
Yep.
Happy to do it.
Seat Jay Kamens for Ann Cremay. And present is Scott Person, Jed Larson, Dan Hutchinson, and myself. And we have next order of business. We have a change to the agenda. Right, Wayne, or has that already been removed?
No, it's still on the agenda.
Okay, should we do that now? We're gonna remove. There was an application.
Need the motion and.
Very good.
The application of, on the. Oh, what road was it?
Item 6A.
Yeah, 34 Old Farms Road, that application has been withdrawn, application 26-6 SP. Been withdrawn.
Thank you very much. We need to make a motion for that, or?
To take it off the agenda, you do, but.
Okay.
It's sort of academic, isn't it?
Let's do it. Can I get a motion to remove that from the agenda?
Make a motion to remove item 6A from the agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Jay. Seconded by Jay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Leanne?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 5-0. Okay. Any other additions or changes to the agenda that anybody wants to bring? No. Moving on to public speak. Any public speak that's concerns topics not on this agenda? Moving on. Old business. Okay. Up first is 5A, the special permit for the accessory apartment at the Hearst Farm store. Discussion. Any concerns?
Make a motion to approve the application.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Jed. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Jay and Leanne?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and your special permit application is approved. I'd just like to make a note. Go ahead, Wayne.
It's effective when it's filed with, on the land records.
Yeah, this is very important. It's come to our attention in the past. The applicants don't always file the last part of their application.
You'll get a notice of action. And that needs to be filed, that you need to file that on the land records. I believe Thomas is familiar with that. Yeah, it's the same as your two other special permits that you got.
Thank you. Yeah, and I just want to get in the habit of making sure we make that announcement after the approval of any application, because it's come to our attention that in the past, the follow through was not done, and then 5 years later, somebody's, oh, I was approved, and we have to look it up in the minutes, and it's never been filed on the land record, so.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
And I hope you enjoyed the plan of conservation. It's the information.
That's good.
I'm sorry.
You guys are all set.
You're welcome to stay, you don't have to stay.
There's the labor.
Yeah.
There's the brand new stuff in it.
All right, congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Moving on to 5B.
Yes, this is for me. If you guys remember, you approved the accessory apartment for Central County, 280 Route 6. In December. And, so come to me with a revised floor plan.
We jumped ahead a little bit later.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, that's okay.
P U C D.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm sorry
your old business.
to interrupt you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
I just want to get that out of the way and then we can definitely move on.
Strike it from the record.
Fair enough.
Be quiet.
Okay, I think that right before we started the regular meeting, we were ready to have our final discussion and/or make a motion to adopt the P O C D with the pending technical adjustments, and small edits from Jen. Now, would you like to still make the motion, or do we need more discussion?
So let's say that, if we don't need any more discussion, what's the next step after we vote that it's done?
So if you are limiting the edits to the minor editorial things that you are offering and the things that Hank is filtering from the outgoing wetlands officer, those would be the only editorial changes we would make to the plan. We would, we'd finalize that, clean it up until it's final PDF. We'll print copies, put it on the website, distribute, but, that would be the change. And the other thing I would note, like in the text of the plan, as I was going through, there is, in the middle of it, there is a note in red that says insert photo of town garage or something like that,
Yeah.
you know, so there's a couple of little formatting things that need to get cleaned up, but nothing that affects the substance of the plan. So we would basically produce a final PDF, we'd put adopted by planning and zoning commission on this date, that sort of thing, and the final PDF.
And, probably the most significant comment that's, technical in nature only is the graph of Andover Elementary School enrollment shows the dip in 2021.
Can you show me what time of page?
It's on page 2.
Oh, okay.
And on page 1, at the bottom sentence there, while school enrollment declined until 2018 to a low of 191. And so that's different than what your graph shows.
That shows.
And then later on, you do have the right year for the dip in a different discussion.
So we just need to change twenty eighteen to twenty twenty-one.
I guess,
that case,
you know, the other kind of comment, I think, we talked about School Street, I think it's School Road. But, there's,
So these are,
that's the nature.
these are typographical.
Enough.
Yeah,
I'll just send them over to you to just make it a little cleaner.
yep. Yeah,
It's not in any way
cleanup. It doesn't
happy
change,
with
it doesn't
the plan.
change the substance of the plan, it's
Yeah.
typos,
Right.
yeah.
So I think the council could approve the plan and authorize John to make the technical and typographical edits that were discussed.
We could approve it, yeah. Do a Wayne thing.
So it's approved with the very limited
Condition.
typographical changes that are completed, yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the plan of conservation and development.
I'll second that.
All right, I'll take an official vote.
So,
Go ahead.
one of the things, after we make a motion, we should always have a little opportunity for discussion on the motion.
Thank you.
Not that there has to be a lot. You give that opportunity.
Any discussion on the motion? Before we take a vote? Okay, so I gave it a 5 count there.
Yep.
And we noted the technical adjustments, just the typographical edits. I will now take a vote. I for myself, Scott,
Aye.
Jed,
Bye.
Leanne,
Aye.
and Jed.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Wow, we have a new plan of conservation. Congratulations. Thank you again, everybody. That was a lot of work that was put into this, so thank you, thank you. And
Thanks,
now we
John.
can go on, yeah, thank you. Now we can go on to new business. Item 6A was removed previously. Item 6B. A market rate accessory apartment. Unless you'd like to swap C and B, Wayne.
No, it's fine.
Okay. I'll give the floor to you. All right, Wayne.
Well, it's another, market rate accessory apartment. I believe I gave you guys a copy of the application. It's,
Here it is.
on Beaver Road. 322. Right now, it's just, set a hearing date, you know, I know, anyway, it's. They look what that is, the applicant, Ronald Langloss.
Yes. That's us. Hey.
I pronounced that right?
Language.
Langloss, all right, anyway. At this point, this is, just to set the public hearing date for the accessory apartment. He's here, if you got, I mean, you can't deliberate it now, this isn't a time to ask questions about the project or anything like that. That is for after the public hearing. I just want to make that understood. But if Ron wants to say something, I think he can.
Go ahead.
I can say a little about it, just so you have a little idea. So I have 24 acres of land up where I live. We have a horse farm right there now. Between the barn and my back garage that's attached to my house, two-car garage attached to the house, are looking to put a U unit in for my 90-year-old parents that has dementia. We're trying to get them so that they're closer and we can help them out more so. So it's going to be a standalone unit. It's going to be 20 feet from the back garage, but it's going to be about, I think it's like 60 feet from the barn, not near the property line at all. And what we're going through right now is I'm waiting for Glenn from the East Highland District to, get back to me. He talked to me and we're waiting on them right now. I had a new tank put in 2020 septic tank. My leach fields are very good. So but we're waiting for some, looking for some dimensions on how deep the pipes are and stuff like that from the drain experts that put in the tank. So Glenn is on vacation this week, so I have nothing to new on that.
So be careful, at this point, we're not, the commission really shouldn't be, it's not deliberating, debating or anything like that. It's only setting the date for your public hearing, when you have to have all that stuff ready for the commission.
Yes.
I sent an email this morning, that list of.
So that's what we're looking to do, is put up an ADU in the back.
My only comment would be is if, you know, trust Wayne, if you think you need more time, then we can schedule the public hearing a little later. If you're having a hold up with anything, like the.
I'm not having a hold up.
No, he's having a hold up with health department, et cetera.
What are we looking at right now, Wayne, for?
Well, the commission could theoretically schedule the public hearing for next month's meeting, the 21st. Or it could push it off to May 17 or something like that. What you don't want is you don't want to have an incomplete application because it can't be approved.
Right.
Okay.
And I don't know what the situation is with Eastern Highlands Health District. That's between you and them.
Okay, I may have to put it off, but is there a timeline of when I can put it off? Like if we set the date tonight for next month?
The hearing has to happen within 65 days of receiving the application.
Okay.
Right, and then we could leave the public hearing open. But that's up to our discretion.
You could have the public hearing next month.
Right.
Then leave it open pending, you know, it sort of goes to you, how you want to, I guess, roll the dice, with Eastern Highlands Health District.
Let's schedule it for next month and,
You could always ask for an extension.
I can ask for an extension that way.
Sounds good. I make a motion? I'm asking for a motion to set a public hearing date for the special permit application 26-4 SP.
I'll make a motion that we set the public hearing date for April 21st.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Yay. Motion passes 5-0. And we have to, I think Wayne is already familiar with this process. He puts in a public, you put in a notice, right?
There'll be 2 legal notices, a sign posted on the street.
Sounds good.
You'll get all that information in time to do it.
Is the meeting usually at 7 o'clock? Usually at 7.
Yes.
Yes, we try to have the public hearing first. All right,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Moving on to new business item C. Okay, go ahead, Wayne, you're on again.
All right, so the commission approved Sokol County's application for the accessory apartment, 280-6. This is new construction and an accessory apartment. He has brought in a revised floor plan that includes a garage where the accessory apartment originally was intended. So my question to the commission is whether or not this is a minor change that I can just approve, or you want Sokol back for a new public hearing and
Is he still doing that accessory apartment?
he's still doing the accessory apartment. Basically, he did the the footprint of the residence is staying the same, it's not changing. He's moving the accessory apartment upstairs directly above where
The ground,
right, the garage is going where the accessory apartment originally was gonna be, and over the garage is gonna be the accessory apartment. Same size, same dimensions. Those are the only changes. And I have the before and after drawings here. So this is what you guys approved, and this is what he's brought me. So, yes, this is, yeah. This is the first floor, I'm sorry, the garage is going where the kitchen goes. This was the accessory apartment. And this was, oh, I'm sorry. This is the accessory, this is the accessory apartment right here.
right, now it's a garage.
Now it's a garage.
Yeah.
And
Now we moved into,
this attic space is now the accessory apartment.
you didn't change it?
That's certainly a smaller space than this.
Yeah,
So,
did he change the roof line or anything?
The elevations here.
I think the windows up there before. Now it's.
maybe it's just been or.
Oh. Here, this is the revised elevation. Yes, so he's gone from doghouse dormers to, hold on.
So a big dormer, yeah, thank you.
To a big dormer.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's added the stairs, yeah. Exterior stairs. I'm thinking that. To my thinking, it's
He didn't move anything.
the overall footprint of the house is staying the same.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking it's just a minor change. But I have to defer to the commission. At least that's my understanding.
So if we're not okay with it, then you'd have to.
There's gotta come back for a new.
Another public hearing?
Yep.
Yep.
Do I have it? Did I have that correct?
Yeah, and because the commission has delegated themselves the ability to determine whether something is minor and therefore can just be handled administratively, or if you don't believe it's minor, then it's a new
It's the
application.
commission's decision whether it's minor or not.
Right, you've given yourself that discretion on your regs.
So how does he get up into this accessory apartment?
He's got a set of exterior stairs.
Excellent.
Commission discussion? Does anybody see a substantive change in that plan that he would require come back for a new public hearing? Leanne and Jay, please, what do you think?
Just a quick question. So the stairs are the one way of entrance and exit. Is that sufficient for emergency egress?
That's a yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, on this type of dwelling, yes.
Is there an interior connecting door also?
No.
Okay,
So the other egress would basically be the windows.
and that was the way it was before?
The way it was before was just an exterior door.
Just an
correct?
exterior doors, okay.
That's a good question.
Go ahead, Leanne.
No, I just think that's a good question. It sounds like you all are satisfied that there's not a real substantive difference, so. I mean, just because I can't see, you know, the table map from here, but it doesn't sound very complicated.
Plans online? Are there other plans on the website? Are the plans, no, okay.
Well, I think I'm gonna just read the room and ask for a motion to accept the minor changes. Or conversely, if anybody has a motion to ask for another public hearing.
I'll make a motion to consider, the change proposed in minor in nature.
I'll second that, Jay.
All right, let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0-0. Okay. It's all back in your hands, Wayne.
All right, I'll let them know.
All right, moving on to correspondence. I'll do two parts. Do you have any correspondence, John?
I do not have any.
Okay. I just want to give you the opportunity. Go ahead, Wayne.
I don't really have any
Thank you.
correspondence. You have a copy of the CROG's, review of the, P O C D.
Yep.
I did get some actually, the wetlands agent got correspondence, from, who was it? Oh, from the state. They're updating their plan and whatnot for, Nathan Hill, State Forest. I've actually got throw a couple copies of that out there for you guys if you're interested.
I started reviewing that today.
And I forwarded that on to Conservation Commission and Wetlands.
She sent it to all the selectmen also, so.
Okay, yeah, no, okay. And, that's it for substantive correspondence.
And the letter that was, in favor of the teaching department of this part, that was part of it.
You know, it's part of it's one of the exhibits of the,
Yeah.
of the application.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Brad gave us a glowing,
Yeah, that was more
Yeah.
than just a,
The referral.
yeah,
That was nice.
very nice.
very good. And a great writer.
Did you write that for him, John?
I did not. I did not. That's Jacob and all of his, he signs off all his emails with all the positive vibes. That's his,
Yeah,
sincere.
very nice. Okay, moving on to commission discussion. I guess that I did the increment resignation out of sequence, my apologies. But let's move on to item A. Liaison to CROG. Yeah, it was brought to my attention that we do not currently have a liaison to,
It's the Regional Planning Commission.
Right.
Prague.
who's our last one?
Yeah,
Might have been me.
well,
It was
you know,
Eric?
Well, I was,
I mean, Eric is the liaison to the policy board,
yeah,
but this is the Regional Planning Commission, which is a separate entity. They basically have 6 meetings a year, every other month. I think it's third Thursday, usually via Zoom. And they discuss, issues of regional importance, but then also, review referrals. So like when you do a zone change that might affect the town boundary area. We sometimes get referrals from Coventry or from Bolton or whatever. This group is basically planning and zoning commissioners from across the region that kind of talk about these intermunicipal land use issues. That's what they do.
Are they gonna be involved in the
They might be. Yeah, the 25-1 housing allocation stuff, they certainly might. Yeah, and so it's important to have a representative there.
Jed, you wanna do it again?
no. So in when I took that position, it was because, as I recall, I remember that John couldn't be the primary.
Right, it needs to be
And so
town
my
representative.
thought was, well, with John's going there because he's involved in so many of these towns and all this stuff, that's great. But it just didn't suit my schedule to go to those things and that'd be that. So,
Look at me.
yeah,
I mean, you know, this is, if nobody's available right now, well, this is something you keep on the agenda, you know, if someone's available, but you know, you're not forced to appoint someone at this point.
What's it entail, Jim?
you never went to a meeting.
Yeah, it's basically 6 Zoom meetings a year. Every other month, third Thursday, they have a Zoom. It's an hour and a half.
Is it in the evenings?
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Well, I'd be willing to.
Maybe Bill Penn or somebody would like to do that.
Ooh,
Bill Penn, he getting involved with the town.
yeah,
You could, I mean, Mr. Chair, you could, you know, appoint yourself and make it a point to find an alternate.
I'll go with that unless there's any dissent from the commission.
Well, wasn't you, weren't you?
I might have been appointed the alternate, if you want to do
Yeah,
that.
I
If you want to
think
be, make yourself the principal and I'll be the alternate, we can do it that way.
That was the deal.
I guess I'll do that.
I'll let them know.
Then
Any
you can appoint
objections?
someone.
Huh?
Then you can just appoint someone.
Myself,
And somebody else to
To
your
be-
absence.
in my absence, yeah.
I'm happy to participate as well. I just don't think I know enough to go there on my own.
Volunteer. Volunteer.
Jay, believe me, I worked with, when I worked at CROG, I was the staff for this regional planning commission. I can guarantee you will not be the least informed person there.
Okay. I'll make a bet on you.
Are you volunteering, Jay?
Yeah, sure.
All right,
Great.
duly appointed. Jay is now going to be our liaison to crop, unless Leanne, you have an objection.
No,
Okay,
All right,
and I'd like to appoint John Guzkowski as our alternate. That was easy. Moving on.
Just one more thing. Wayne, you can send me the information on that?
Yep, I'm gonna put you in touch with Jacob.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Of course.
All right, moving on to item 9A. Administrative reports.
No, you gonna do the committee?
Okay, you're right.
Are we going?
No, you're right. I apologize. We have to address that. So I asked advice, what did the planning and zoning commission do last time there was a vacancy, and
You filled it.
I was the one, yeah, but there was, did you put out a public notice?
The town clerk did.
Okay,
She has to notify the Democratic Party chair, the Republican Party chair, then put notice in the River East.
okay.
Write that down.
But can't
Do
you?
we have a letter on file?
To, regular? To fill that vacancy?
That was not the opinion of the committee.
Right.
Okay.
That
Just ask.
if an alternate wanted to fill that position, they just had to say, I'd like to fill that position, and by virtue
During
of
that time.
they've got the experience, that gives them a leg up in the selection process.
Go ahead, Leanne, we couldn't hear you.
oh, I just had, I said, do we have an actual letter? And then I said, it's in the charter, it has to be publicized. You know, it has to be, publicized somehow to the public.
Very good.
In other words, we have to receive anybody else if there's any other interest. And then our own alternates, if they were interested, would, you know, signal us of that interest. And then we have 60 days to do it. if for some reason we fail to do it, then it would go to the selectmen.
Thank you, Leanne.
Yeah, I hope Ann's okay. I know people have all kinds of reasons for resigning, so I guess
Yeah.
we'll just move ahead with the procedure.
Yeah, do we know if she's going to stay on in the selectman role?
I haven't heard.
I was wondering that too. I guess we'll have to wait, huh?
Okay, so Wayne, could you draft a letter for that or for the River East?
No,
Or, no,
publicize the opening.
Town clerk does that,
or just have the town ask, I could ask the town clerk.
to do that, yeah.
They would
Okay.
probably, like you just
I
said,
think I know them.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
but the town clerk, well, the town clerk obviously knows of the resignation because she
Yes,
told us. She
Yeah.
received the letter.
correct. Okay, on to administrative reports.
All right, been a spate of complaints coming in, actually, 4 complaints.
What was that word you used?
Spate.
Spate? I haven't heard that in a long
A
time.
spate of complaints.
Good word.
You could use other words, but anyway, so,
Maelstrom? A maelstrom?
it's not a maelstrom yet.
Cornucopia?
Copious.
So, anyway, a tractor trailer truck being parked in a cul-de-sac, Lindholm's Corners. I did speak with the owner of the truck this morning, and hopefully he follows through with finding another place to park his truck. And plate,
I don't wanna make the meeting longer, but if
Well,
he's,
zoning
if
has
he's a
some-
vehicle parked in the right of way, that's not.
yeah, zoning has some,
It's a commercial vehicle though,
In a residential
in a
area.
residential area.
If he's
Actually, it's not,
that's
it's
a,
a
that's
business.
a, that's a.
it's actually its own business.
Oh, it is. Yep.
But still, and the town doesn't have an ordinance about parking in town streets,
Well, we,
town roads.
How we do in the Lake
It's
District.
commercial vehicles, right?
Especially Lake District.
Zoning has commercial vehicle parked on
Private property.
private property.
Right, he's in the town right of way, he's on public property.
Yeah, so you've been on. Anyway, I've asked him to move it,
Good for you, good for you.
all right? He was, I woke him up this morning, he was sleeping in it.
Jesus.
So. Anyway, another complaint, Hutchinson Road, I'll have to be going back there. A complaint on Bear Swamp concerning a property that's accumulating some junk, I believe. I believe that was a subject of a complaint some time ago.
What was the one on Hutchinson Road?
81 Hutchinson.
Hmm?
81 Hutchinson.
Yeah, what was the complaint?
The complaint is about accumulation of debris and junk and vermin dragging the stuff from that property onto a neighboring property.
And one on Bear Swamp also?
No, the one on Bear Swamp is just about stuff. Accumulation of stuff.
Stuff.
And yeah, that's it. Oh, and complaint on Basola Road. Concerning a property on Basola Road.
And what was that complaint?
The complaint was junk and cars and stuff.
Yeah, we were
Littering
In front of the house?
must be, that's my guess.
You could be right. I don't like outing people publicly if they're not here to defend themselves, so I try to keep it generic. But you all can read the tea.
I can't wait to see what you do, Tony.
Excuse me?
Excited to see what you do.
Okay. I think I told you this last time, I've been monitoring the inland wetland stuff. been in contact with the wetlands chair, Duncan Fife. There is an application that's going to be brought to them at their next meeting concerning the culvert on Lake Road at Arundoni, the culvert replacement.
At Zola.
Ozola.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've given, I think, this commission all the stuff they need on that. Talked to the engineer that submitted it. And also, this commission can expect an 824 referral on that culvert after wetlands. And that's all I have to report.
So going back to the Zola Road thing, so we approve a home occupation.
And construction of a new garage.
In part of that approval had construction of a new garage to put all the stuff.
Or at least some of the
And
stuff.
he has done nothing to move that ball down the field.
There's more than there was.
I don't know. I'll see when I go up there, visit with the individual.
It would be nice if we had kind of a spreadsheet of all these, we expected something to be done as part of this thing. He's looking, okay, I'm good to go with my home occupation. No, he's good to go with building the garage, put all the stuff that supports his home occupation.
No,
That was all part of the
he's
deal.
not. He hasn't filed that on the land records yet.
That's my point,
So
my point
he
is
can't,
that
he hasn't even got, he got to go,
He
but he
thinks-
didn't leave go.
yes, he's happy, he gets his home occupation and he's doing his thing. No, that was predicated on doing some other stuff.
Is there like a timetable or anything?
Well, there is, I think it's the 60 days or 90 days.
Oh, yeah, he's way past
But I think we can go back and revoke the home occupation thing, say, you haven't complied.
Does a home occupation become it doesn't become effective until it's filed. It's not-
Okay, then, tell them to get all the crap out of there. The other, so that was one thing for a spreadsheet, but another one that comes to mind is Ben Franklin seems to be morphing into more stuff along the rail trail where they carved out, I don't know what.
That piece of property?
Yeah, that it, and we've been talking about, they were supposed to come with a revised site plan about what they're doing with the parking and all this stuff, we've been talking about that for a year or so. And, it's working, so they just are ignoring the fact that they're not in compliance.
I believe the commission they can be brought before the commission.
Okay. But I think we need a way to track these things because they kind of slip off.
Right, there's no timelines put on it.
Yeah.
Maybe the applicants aren't aware of the timelines.
Do they have, are they operating under a special permit or are they grandfathered?
There is special permit.
So, if they're exceeding the parameters of the special permit, we should let them know.
No, they
They
do.
know.
Good, okay,
They
all right,
will.
yeah, okay,
But they can be brought before the commission for
right, sure.
not living up to the conditions of that special permit.
That could be revoked.
Right.
All that stuff was to be put in the new building. Right?
On Missoula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long's that been?
Oh, God,
6 months at least.
6, 8 months.
Since he got the approval, it hasn't been that long.
Excuse me.
Since he got the approval for the structure.
He was approved for his home occupation and for constructing a garage. There were conditions put on it though, that he had to have an official A2 site plan submitted and stuff like that. And he's got file that.
Oh, he hasn't filed it yet?
No,
Yeah,
he
okay.
hasn't put it on the land records.
Okay, so, yeah.
So it expired? Is there an
No,
expiration
the
on that?
special permit doesn't expire, it just sits, it's not active.
Gotcha.
Right. So. I'll be going up to see him. Oh, also on the website, you guys probably noticed that the application is all back up there.
Back up there, yeah.
Yeah. The,
That was very helpful.
Right.
Permit link people put like a disclaimer on the entry page to the permit system that requires the user to check a box acknowledging that they read it, so that they know that there's scams out there and not the fault for it. And it's good. They were prompted by many towns other than Andover asking for something. So they did it. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Wade. Moving on to John.
Yeah.
In the wetlands again?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, well,
Keep trying to.
almost nothing to report because we canceled our meeting this month because there was nothing going on, but, you know, it was a surprise to John, I guess, that we have no wetlands agent for the town right this minute, and, I don't know where we stand on replacing him, but, one doesn't exist currently. I don't know if we have a temporary one or whatever.
When are your wetlands meetings?
The first Tuesday of the month.
That's my Essex planning. I'm a certified wetlands person.
So you have any more time in your schedule?
First Tuesdays of the month is Essex for me, but. But if you need a warm body to write enforcement orders or to sign off on stuff, we can talk about that, but. The meeting presents a conflict one, but.
Do you have any idea who we could get? I've been calling TAC over there, trying to get a hold of people that could.
Oh, at the conservation district?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad,
Every
that's not
call.
a bad option, Joanna Shapiro.
Do you know anybody else that might be interested in doing? What is it, Wayne, 10 hours a week or,
No, it's probably not that.
Yeah,
or 5 hours a week?
10 hours a week,
10 hours a week?
20 hours total, right, per pay period.
We could look at that. One of my colleagues, Robin Newton, who's a planner, zoning officer, wetlands officer, lives on Bunker Hill in Coventry. Maybe we could see if she's willing to stop by, but we can talk about that. Maybe have some resources.
Is she interested in being a wetlands officer?
Oh, hell no, she's not, but if her boss informs her that this is something she's gonna do, that may be something we can make available, but yeah.
Until we get one?
Yeah, so we could talk about that.
Good.
But I think, reaching out to Joanna at the Conservation District is a good idea.
But filling the position is the Board of Selectmen, correct?
Yeah, yes. We have a lot of things going on right now.
So I understand.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Jed. Sorry about that. Moving on. Town planner.
Yeah, I don't have that much additional. It'll be important to have eyes and ears at CROG, because this, the state is gonna be coming forward with its housing numbers in the next 6 months or so. It's really important to stay current with CROG on what their plans are with regional housing. Yeah, but otherwise, we did our, for those, for anyone who participated in the session last Wednesday on Public Act 25-1, I know, well, Jed, you were there, I don't know if anyone else was there. The resource of the recording of the session is on my website. So if you go to tykeplans.com and go to the resources page, there's the full PowerPoint presentation, the full recording of the session, and some other guidance on the Public Act. So I would encourage people to take a look there. And that would also count for your training hours for that, that would give you two training hours for your commissioner training requirement.
So one of the thoughts that. So one of the big takeaways is CROG is going to come up with a plan, the housing growth plan, is that the name of it? And so a town can either accept that plan, or they can come up with their own plan, write their own. And, you know, we talked about, well, this is easy, this one's hard. And my thought was, we're probably gonna be in agreement with the plan, we just aren't gonna like the numbers that we get assigned.
Everyone's gonna think the numbers are too high.
Yeah, and so we can make it our own plan by taking 98% from the basic plan and just change the numbers. There's two numbers in there, I think, that we need to put, and then that's our plan.
But then CROG has to approve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
So-
it, if we die, build a case.
CROG. The trick is, you have to make the determination if you're gonna opt in or opt out before CROG writes the full plan. The only thing you're gonna know really is the number before you opt in or out.
Yeah.
So, but if you opt out and say you're gonna write our own plan, CROG's not gonna involve you in the regional plan. So you won't be able to get to the 99-yard line and say, no, that's our plan except
We get
for.
90%.
Right,
Okay,
yeah, so-
we have to tweak
Yeah,
it.
so, but this will be
Yeah.
basically over the next year,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to have that discussion.
Yeah.
So,
Now, the state is put a bunch of money into CROG for this.
Yep.
And
and they're not providing any direct municipality grants, so, yeah, so if you're gonna write your own plan, you have to figure out how to pay for it.
It would be very good. That's the encouragement to go with the CROG plan, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's free. Yeah. That's what I got.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to public speak. No, hearing none, moving on. Approval of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the February 17th, 2026 minutes.
Second.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Deb. Discussion? Okay, hearing none, let's take a vote. Approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0-0. And the next regularly scheduled meeting is April 21st. And I'd like to ask everybody to, if they can make it in, come in person. That way you get to see this cool stuff in person. And make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, everybody.
make sure to say that.
Aye.